And is there sound now? Is there sound now? And it's running slow. Okay, no slow, but still no sound. Is there sound? There has to be sound. This is the biggest epic fail since. So, oh my God. See when you buy a new laptop, take the sound, okay? Never go to Currys and buy a laptop. But for all it cost, which was a small fortune, um, now you're black and white now. I'm not black and white. That's you. Right. Right. No, you're at it. Right. Celtic news. Let's get on to the good stuff. No, I'm not in black and white. Right. Right. Aye, because I'll be getting feedback for that. They'll hear that. Right. Beat it. Get it. Right. It sounds good. Right. Predicted lineup. One of the what? Right. One of the Italian papers has been looking to tomorrow's game, and they've got a shock when it comes to. I'm going to put the team that they reckon. I'm going to put it on the screen. This is the team that they reckon that they will play. Now, watch along the bottom of the screen. I'm going to put a new banner on. Right, this is the team that the Italians think that we will play tomorrow night. And it's long above the screen now. They reckon it'll be Hart, Johnson, Carter, Vickers, Scales, Taylor, O'Reilly, McGregor, Turnbull, Yang, Mikey Johnston, and Kyogo Furiashi. Mikey Johnson. They think that Mikey Johnson will start the game. And they think Mikey Johnson. Do you think we could win? Now, I'm only asking this because Lazio did get beat at the weekend. They did get beat at the weekend, and they have key men missing from their training today. Their goalkeeper was missing, and the fact that they are still sitting 11th in the league, they're sitting 11th in the league, and they had a shock result at the weekend. They got beat 2-1. They got beat 2-1 by a team that got their first win of the season. First win of the season. So, with that being said, can Celtic do it? Can Celtic get the win? Can we get anything? We've done it before. It'll probably Forrest will be injured. Mikey Johnson's rubbish. Well, this is a team that's come out in an Italian paper and Getty Football News Italy. They reckon that that's the team that they're going to go with. I tell you one thing: if we were to get anything from the game at all, would be a fantastic result. Brendan Rodgers still thinks that we do have the the Europa to play for. He has to be having a laugh because there's no way are we going to finish third. Absolutely no way. Let's get some of the comments up. I mean, that is the line, and also it's got the lineup that they think the predicted lineup for Lazio, and they reckon that Lazio is going to go 4-3-3, while Celtic will go 4-3-2-1 with Yang and Mikey Johnson on the wing. Now, I don't know if they've seen it at the weekend, but I think Yang might be actually injured for that game. So I think they've got the lineup totally wrong, which I'll be glad of if that happens. But the fact that they did get beat 2-1 by a team that hasn't won all season, got their first points on the board by beating them. They got beat by the bottom league, the bottom team in the league, the bottom team in the league. They got beat 2-1. Unbelievable. They do sit 11th in the Italian league. I mean, there's some teams in front of them, but they're sitting 11th in the league, and they got bottom. They got beat from the bottom team in the league. Let's get some of the comments. Kaiser, I sent you a message on Twitter if you want to come on. Let's get to some of the comments. David says, we need a new board and rid of Desmond who hides out of harm's way. Yep, sadly, we've no chance. Worst Celtic team in a good few years now, I believe. Give you Mikey a run out. We have nothing to lose. That's an interesting one. Give Mikey Johnson a run out. We have nothing to lose. Mikey Johnson's rubbish. Yang is injured. Mikey Johnson is the attempt at reverse psychology. I think it probably could be their attempt at reverse psychology. But whatever happens, we go into the Champions League tomorrow night. And JGB says it's going to be 2-2, a 2-2 draw. I'll take anything tomorrow night. 2-1 would be fantastic. 2-1 would be fantastic. Just want Europe out of the way to concentrate on the league, says Smell the Glove. Why is that Smell the Glove? Because we've been that absolutely rank rotten in Europe this season. Would it be the case? Would we still be as bad if we dropped down to the Champions League, out of the Champions League into the Europa? Can we still finish third? I don't think we can. We're out of Europe no matter what. So let's be honest, says David. The board are no use, and our team is nowhere near good enough. We shall lose unless Lazio have all their team out. Well, they have had their goalkeeper, who wasn't at training today. They're not giving too much away, but he wasn't at training today. And Lazio winger Pedro, he has said that he's convinced that Sarri isn't the problem. He said that the Italian coach has come under fire after losing 2-1 at the weekend, but he said the coach isn't the problem. The team have not found their footing in the campaign, and inconsistency is causing belief that Sarri's project is to fail. So in Italy, they're basically slating Lazio. Lazio says must shake off their frustrations as they prepare to host Celtic in the Champions League. Beating the Scots and seeing Atletico Madrid and beating Feyenoord would take them to the round 16 of the competition. Can they do it? Can they do it? Can we get anything out of the game more than anything? The fact that the Italian media are bailing for blood when it comes to the Italians, maybe it could be just a little chance. Maybe it could be the little chance that we have needed to try and get something in Europe. The bottom team, that would be us. Let me see. At least the drew, bro. I don't think we'll be getting a draw there tomorrow, says Catholic Rebel. Apparently, Yang has turned himself inside out for 2 weeks. Well, there we go. Baz, Smell the Glove. We drew at home with a team that run out of 2 points in the last 27. Well, let's try and talk up Celtic just for an hour, just for half an hour. Doc, he says, I have more respect for Brendan Rodgers if he had played 3 centre halves. 4 at the back, 2 in the middle. Play O up top. Sick of going all open and getting pumped when we have half a team out. Big Domin says we have too many of our best players out to win tomorrow. No depth in the squad. But we brought in a hell of a lot of players this summer. So basically, the players that we brought in aren't really good enough. So I can't see us winning against Lazio. We'll end up a draw probably. A draw would be a good result. Let's face it. I'll take a draw all day long. I'm not even going to give you a prediction for the team because it's going to be unbelievable to try and predict what team Brendan will put out tomorrow. The team is a shell of the team from last season, says OB Boy. It's a shell of the team from last season. It is, but we've got to deal with what we've got in front of us. We can't keep looking back to last season and thinking what could have been because the manager's left and we need to get on with it. No, my name JJB is who too. Then he's got more names than James Bond. I see Celtic are taking a tank in tomorrow. You can see Celtic taking a tank in tomorrow, says James, because we can't defend in Europe full stop. Yes, this is probably true. You probably nailed it on the head with that one. We really struggle. The inexperience of the players in the team tends to suggest that, yeah. Let's move on for that. Stuart Ramsey says, even Baz and Phil Timms, hail for the Banky Boy in the West Midlands. Believe I'll get 2-0 tomorrow. Paul Baird comes in with some sense of we have no chance of finishing third in the group, even if we win tomorrow. And in his opinion, we would need 2 cracking results, and I don't think that we're going to get the 2 results required. That's for sure. That is for sure. Don't say it myself, mate, but here is hoping. Lazio aren't that good. We should have beaten them at home, 1-0 for us. We should have beaten them at home, but we didn't. We didn't. Lazio equalising late on, so that draw feels like a loss. It does feel like a loss, but can we do it? Can we do it in Rome again for the second time? As I say, their goalkeeper sat out training, and the Italian media are bailing for blood for their manager. They're basically, you read in between the lines, it looks like they're trying to get the manager sacked. And the Lazio winger, Pedro, he's come out in defiant defence of Maurizio Sarri ahead of the Champions League duel with Celtic. They're 11th in the league in Italy, and they got beat at the weekend 2-1 by the team sitting 20th in the league. So if they can beat them 2-1, surely we can do something. Surely we can do something. There's always a chance. There is always a chance. It's going to be a very physical game tomorrow. There's going to be lots of nice tackles. There's going to be a lot of typical Italian diving about. Typical Italians are going to try and get players sent off. But we have to raise our game. We've got 2 games left in the Champions League. We have to raise our game at least once in the Champions League this season. Marty Boy says we're going to win tomorrow. We're going to win tomorrow, he reckons. We made the biggest mistake when going back for Brendan Rodgers for the second time after he walking away. Huge mistake. But that's the type board, an easy option at the time. Mathematically, if we win both games, we could still be in the Champions League. Never mind third. Never mind third, said Kaiser. I think realistically, if we can win both, there's not a chance we'll win 2 games. The last one at home, I'll come down to, and I fear for the last one at home, especially with the way that the fan situation is, especially with the atmosphere at Celtic Park. It doesn't give me any hope that things are going to get better, and that there's going to be this magnificent, amazing atmosphere against Feyenoord for 90 minutes that's going to blow them away and motivate our team to give that extra 2 or 3 yards. Our goalkeeper sat out Saturday. And he also did star jumps, and he also tried to just do whatever he does usually. And Joe Hart is usually come out of the box far too quick, and then try and get back into the box far too late. Just lucky that we had Cameron Carter-Vickers there at the weekend to header that shot that was coming in. Shanklin's not good enough. That was from this earlier video. Shanklin's not good enough. And there was a TV pundit that said that he reckons that Shanklin will be on his way to Celtic. I can't see it, but it was a nice little story that's obviously kicking around this afternoon. Start Awata. Oh, I missed this one. Of course, Celtic can do it. We have to lose at this point. We just go out. We've nothing to lose. What do we have to lose? We need to go out and just play. But then it's not the same as when Scotland kind of turn up, and Scotland are underdogs under the current manager and seem to play well. We seem to have lost that. We liked it when we were underdogs and we came out and we fought above our weight. Now we can't even fight at the weight that we're at when it comes to football at this level. Awata, I would start Awata and see what he's made of. Is it the type of game where you make dramatic changes like that, or is it Brendan Rodgers going to do what Brendan Rodgers always does, and Ange Postecoglou for that fact, and he'll stick with the tried and tested players and just hope that they perform on the evening. Just don't want any more injuries for league games that's coming up. Yeah, it is an important month. We do play weekend and midweek games right through the month of December. It's an away day, so there'll be cheating. There will be same old away days and some same old cheating results. David said, Fats Arbaz, that the board, they've held Celtic back. We should be miles in front of the Rangers today, but we're not. Europe is where we should have made much more progress, but the board held the team back. David, you need to look back over the last 10 years and say, has the board done enough for that respect? The board will probably come out and say, look, we backed every manager. We backed every manager as much as we could. And it was up to the managers to then try and progress us in Europe. And you could then come back and say, no, you give the managers a fighting chance, but that's like going into the ring with one hand behind your back. Because there's players that we could have got over the years at Celtic that would have just give us a little bit of chance to try and get into Europe and do something. But no, we need to beat Lazio 2-0 to be in with a shout. I think we'll need to score three. We'll need to score three because the time we score one, they'll play out every trick in the book, and then it'll be game on. It'll be game on. Paul Baird says we need the Green Brigade back at games as soon as possible, purely for the atmosphere. And hopefully they'll calm down with banners and pyro and stuff because I think that's about to all kick off. Anyway, I would take that Aberdeen striker in January, by the way. It says that. Paul Baird says when it comes to Shankland, not for him. I don't think Celtic will go for him. I don't think he's really better than what we've got at the club at the moment. But you never know. I think we do need to go out and buy someone that does have that little bit of oomph about them and that can get fans off their seats because that's what's missing at Celtic this season. Without Jota taking on fans down the wing and getting to the byline and getting crosses in, there's not really anything that's stand out. And even because we've lost Lil Abada had some fantastic pace about him. He didn't play every week, but when he came on, he scored some fantastic amount of goals. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. John, how are you this evening? We need to concentrate on the bread and butter of the league as these Champions games just to show the team's confidence. But we need to try and improve in the Champions League and get some kind of results in the Champions League so that when we go into it next year, if they're trying to get any kind of continuous progress at the club, we're just not doing it just now at all. Just not doing it at all at the moment. Lorna, I'm in agreement with my wee Uncle Stuart. 2-0 to the boys tomorrow. Keep the faith, says Lorna. Aberdeen would want around about 7 million for their striker. Lowell would laugh at that. I think, would you really want about 7 million? Not a chance. Not a chance. The club have 70 million plus in the bank. He's on about David. So what stopped them in the close season bringing in a couple of better calibers? Exactly. Financial planning would have told them that they were expecting that kind of money to be in the bank. So why didn't they go out then instead of bringing in 9 players that were project players? Why didn't they go out then and bring in 3 or 4 players that we knew that is all we needed? But it's my understanding that Celtic thought there would be a few more first team players leaving, hence the reason that we brought in so many project players, which is a bit disappointing. We wouldn't even pay the 6 million for the Brøndby striker as Kyogo is not good enough. We need to get some strength in. Yep. Is it going to be the case that Kyogo is going to come to his time at Celtic and he's going to be the striker that could have, maybe have, but just didn't have enough? When it comes to Europe, anyway, and it comes to, but then it all comes down to service. It all comes down to service. We can't slate young wee Kyogo. He plays his heart out, but he does need the service. And when you've got teams sitting back the way that we do, the way that teams do against us, and we don't get the speed up to it, it's all about speed. And Brendan Rodgers has took the speed right out of the team, unfortunately. James says we're like a schoolboy in a team in Europe. Easy to play against. We don't have any fighters in this team now. This is true. Maybe Brendan Rodgers will go out. If we're going to bring in fighters, who would you bring in, and what positions would you bring a fighter in? Because where would they fit into the team? It's hard to see where, when you see all the players that are there just now, if we're going to bring in match-ready players with a bit of experience, who's dropping out? Obviously, one's going to be for me if we bring in a striker, drop to the bench, and then you'll not see him again to probably next season. But it's a hard one. It's a hard one. the Rangers have been in 2 Europa finals with far worse teams than Celtic. Why? Because the tactics in Europe are spot on, not kamikaze football. Plus, they always seem to get an easy draw. They always in Europe, they always seem to get an easy draw. Celtic have never had an easy draw for years. I thought this draw, if you remember the excitement of when we did the Champions League draw live, I thought this draw was probably most. I think it was definitely the easiest group on paper that we'd been in for a long time. The fact that we beat Lazio home and away in 2019, I thought it was a group that we really could have done something in. And I thought when you win two of the three home games and maybe try and sneak a win away and a draw. And I thought that would be enough. I thought aiming for 7 points could be a realistic target for Celtic. Celtic could have got through on 7 points. Celtic could have got to third on 7 points, but now we're sitting with 1 point, and it's like, where do we go? Where do we go? Off Mikey Johnson in exchange. Part exchange for who? Anyone? I think Mikey Johnson will be one player that's sold in January. I think he'll be one player that's sold in January. Brown Warrior says the board have went down the Moneyball route in the transfer window since 2013. That's the season they will never do anything compared to previous decade with Europe making money as the priority. Um, I think that since then, and I know the era that you're talking about, but I'm going to say this from a club point of view, and they'll have looked at it. They knew that certain types of revenue was going to go down. The fact that the Rangers died and went bust and were out the season, out the scene. You could only play with I mean, the money in football went down during those years purely for the fact that Scottish football tries to sell itself on four Glasgow derbies each year, which is the downfall. They should have took that opportunity to change the league setup. This, looking back, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but they could have took an opportunity to make the leagues bigger. Would that have got them back into the league quicker? Maybe, you never know. They wouldn't have had all the leagues to come up. And they might have got up there through there quicker. It maybe got Celtic and got their finger out to spend better money on better players rather than project type players. Anyway, the board has done what they've done. We need to move on. We're not back in 2020, 2013 anymore. The happiest days of my life going to the football were back then. But we're in 2024, the Champions League, and you know, we're going to get to the end of next month going, that was it. That was a total waste. And I feel for all the guys that are going out to Rome because it's done nothing but rain out there today. Kaiser says, I told you, legend Celtic win 3-1. And we'll have a goal difference, a two-goal difference. We need the heads to. Aye, Kaiser, Jesus. So many missed chances by Kyogo. I could miss my shot, man, says David. That is the thing. I mean, Kyogo. I mean, there's all this talk about him going down to England, and I don't think he will, unless he was banging in goals on a regular basis in the Champions League. I think it's only then that teams down south would go, do you know what? Yeah, let's go. Let's make a 15 million move for him because as it stands just now, Celtic are not going to get 20 million from him. That's a certainty. Carolyn, welcome to the channel tonight. What if the prawn sandwich effect is happening now at Celtic Park with no atmosphere? I've said that for months now that the prawn sandwich effect has taken effect at Celtic Park. It should be just down to the Green Brigade to bring the noise. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But when you look, I watched part of the Liverpool Man City game at the weekend, and that was the exact same. You know, it's a big stadium, lots of fans, but no singing and no noise. And you had a little bit from the Liverpool fans now and again. And is that the way that we want football to go? Unfortunately, I think it's the way that football is going to go in Scotland. And it's the product on the park is kind of suffering for it. But that's just my opinion. But I think the prawn sandwich is great. And people saying make Celtic Park bigger make Celtic Park bigger. But are all these people, do they all know, and I'm going to say it, do they all know all the songs? Do they know all the Rebel tunes? Because let's face it, that's what gets sung at away and home games. If if they don't want to sing Rebel songs and they don't want to sing songs that are made up by the Green Brigade, well, who's going to sing them? Because if you put another 10 to 15,000 on top of the main stand, that's prawn sandwich brigade all day long, sitting up there, sitting up there. Let's get back to the comments. We paid 6 million for Sutton, 6 million for Hearts, and that was decades back. Yep, that was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and it's we still won't spend that kind of money and bring in players that can just make that little bit of difference. Just to make that little bit of difference. Mike said he has more confidence in winning Celtic winning 5-4 match than betting on a clean sheet. You might hear a bet there, right? You might have the bet Kaiser's back in with a we should shake off the shackles of this bread and butter league and build a squad to win in Europe. It would dominate Scottish football. We've tried that before a long time ago, and Martin O'Neill was slated for spending too much money. And then once we got to Seville, we put the brakes on and we went backwards. We went backwards. We did. We went backwards for years. And let's not face fact. Keogh has been starved of service. It is that. It is that. But what do we do? What does Brendan Rodgers do? Brendan Rodgers has said, and it feels like I'm repeating myself on this, Brendan Rodgers has said that the passing and the movement in the final third is just not good enough. So does he then go out and bring in two more wingers in the winter transfer window? Does he go in and bring two more wingers in that can cross in a ball? Because we've given umpteen wingers a chance this season and we're still not any better. We're not any better. Kyogo's finishing has been poorer this season. He's off the boil. He is off the boil. And this is why is he off the boil though? Why is he off the boil? I'm trying not to sneeze here. Kyogo's not the problems. We need wingers. But we've got wingers. This is the problem we've had. Well, when you look back over the years and you look at the balls that have came in from the assists and or the lack of assists that have came in for Dyson and Myra, it'd be interesting to see the next summer transfer window because I think there could be a good few changes of first team players leaving that were brought in under Ange Postecoglou. James Smith is spot on there, Baz. We don't have fighters in the team. We lack that. Said it earlier. We're also the strength. Yeah, but we don't have fighters in the team anymore. We don't. Since Scott Brown was in the team, we seem to have lost that in the midfield. Callum McGregor was never a Scott Brown type player, but I mean, Scott Brown knew how to put a tackle in and knew how to put a block in. Callum can do that to a certain extent, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same at all. I'm going to go sneeze live on air. Doc says we paid 9 million for a French youth player. Kept him a couple of years, paid him top dollar, and lost money on him when they flung the toys at the pram. Not easy to buy top Brown players for 10 million. This is true. We didn't lose that much money on him, but we made some money on him, you know. French Eddie you're talking about. Anyway, attacking mid, forget his dream. Calm further forward, yes. Yeah, you need Calm playing way further forward. Hi, Baz. Spain plays 16-year-olds that scored. We don't play young fit players. Yep, we don't. And we've been saying that. But there has to be something going on in the background at Celtic where they're going, look, they're bringing these young players through. And you've got to remember, over the last couple of years, the B team's been quite successful. And there's a lot of good youth players that have left Celtic. Why are they leaving Celtic? Because they don't see a route into the first team. They don't see a route into the first team. You lose Ben Doak. Ben Doak walks down to Liverpool. And then within 3 months, he's in the first team and he's playing. He's playing in the English Premiership. Why aren't Celtic doing that? Why aren't they letting them in? Is it because of the fear of dropping points and losing the league again? Because it's a two-horse race in Scotland. I don't know. It's a hard one, but the whole thing with losing so many youth players is the big problem. If you ask me. Tyson Fury. He'd come in for it. He would come in for it. Let's jump through some of the comments. Jeez, Kyogo for me misses too many chances, said David. He does miss too many chances. We need a more lethal striker. And I'm going to say it, we need a Lee Griffiths. You know, we need a Lee. For all the bad that came with Lee Griffith, he could score goals. He could score goals. He knew how to score a goal. And I think he was probably a better finisher than Kyogo, to be honest. Um, I'm going to stick it out there. And he knew how to score for a free kick also. So let's just say it. People will shake their heads at this. But I would sell Kyogo. I think he's average at best and he would struggle down south. Just your opinions, sure. And buy two quality strikers between 10 and 15 million. How much do you think that we would get for Kyogo? Because I don't think it's going to be the 20 million that was suggested last summer. I think if we're lucky, we would get 15. 15. We get 15 for Kyogo, even at Christmas. It's a good deal. It's a good deal. John's back and he says, um, I wouldn't even get anyone on Gumtree buying Mikey Johnson. I'm going to go on Gumtree and put a post up Mikey Johnson for sale. Can you do that? Oh dear, apparently he scored 4 in Europe this season, Scooby. Lorna, yep, it was brilliant to see the reaction to that last night. Baz, yep. Let me just jump through some of these. Centre back and midfield for me because Kalmark is too weak in Europe. That's an interesting one because Callum's been in the middle of the park for a good few seasons now. But you think he's too weak in Europe. He probably is a bit too weak in Europe, but well, when he played, wait a minute, because when he played for Scotland against Norway, right, he ran the show. So why can't he take the form that he had against Norway and bring that to the game tomorrow night? I'm just putting it out there, James. I'm just putting it out there. I mean, you're saying he's too weak in Europe, but he had a fantastic game in Norway. He bossed it, and and there's some of the Norwegian players. I mean, I know what it's like when they're over here. They're all about 6'7". It's unbelievable. But we do need something to come in. Did Henrik not miss chances? Yeah, but Henrik could miss two chances in a game and he would score one. Henrik missed quite a few chances, but his goal scoring ratio to misses was a lot more than Kyogo. Um, I think, anyway. I think. Not too sure about that. Spurs want Maida because of his high energy levels. Yes. Would you sell Maida? Even though I don't think he'd be sold because he's injured, but you never know. Ange Postecoglou might just come in and put in a cheeky bid for him in the next window. Maybe that's why Celtic and the board are saying, yep, we'll let you spend money on some decent players in the next window because they know that there's an offer about to come in from down south for maybe Dyson or maybe Rio Hatate. John, the prawn sandwich, more like tadpole buddy. Is that a new builder site thing? Anyway, let's move on to some. The games are full of cards telling you to sit down because they can't see the game. Jeez, Minister subscribers have just lost for that one. That's a cracker. No, it's the game has changed. The game has changed, and it's how you look at it. Is it a spectator sport, or is it a case of no? I'm going to tell you this: when we're in Madrid, I mean, you see everyone going to the snack vans here and going to. I mean, Celtic have made it a money making scam in the foyers of Celtic Park. At Madrid, they all got out packed lunches. Atletico Madrid fans all got out their packed lunches that they brought in with them. Unbelievable. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. There was hot dog stands inside. There was a wee burger stall. There was hot food available, but the majority of fans brought out a packed lunch. Yep, a butty wrapped in tinfoil too. Unbelievable. Lowell took off after Seville. Hardly a surprise. Yeah, we'll leave that one there for a bit. I think we need a new captain. I don't think that Kalmak is captain material. Are they saying, uh, is there anyone better in the team? The best captains in my life has been Bruni and the Bear, big Roy Aitken. Is there anybody else that you think could be captain? Could be captain. Kaiser's back in and says, we need a powerhouse striker in there. 14 corners and no goals. Yep, we need somebody that just bullies the box. And unfortunately, The little man from South, well, he's not really little, but our man from South Korea just doesn't do that. He just doesn't bully people around the box. We need somebody big and powerful that can Celtic sold McGeady and never look back after players, lying about them. Yeah, if you look at them, yeah, exactly. Yes. That's yeah, let's not even go there. Right. Good, Chris. Leanne, how are you this evening? Hey, Baz, keep up the good work for the channel. It's always great content, mate. Apart from this morning when the audio was thingied on the new laptop, but I got that sorted out. Thanks for your help with that one, Kaiser. Um, 3 points, three away points, 3 away day points tomorrow. Could you imagine the Scottish media if Celtic were to win tomorrow? I mean, let's get back to where they are in the league. Let's get back to. So I'm going to jump through your comments. I'm not going to read them all. I apologise just now. Um, I think Shanklands would bring that. Do you think so? I bet there was no prawn sandwich in their packed lunch. Yeah, the Scooby Man, there was no prawn sandwiches. Well, I don't know. Like they like prawns out here. Um, seen that myself in Madrid. Packed lunches. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Packed lunches everywhere, all around, and it was unbelievable. Right, let's get back to Lazio because they are a few men missing tomorrow. One of the key men missing was their goalkeeper, Ivan Provedel. That's probably pronounced wrong, but who cares? He's missing from training ahead of the Champions League Group E fixture against Celtic on Tuesday. Celtic sit bottom of the group with just a single point so far, while second place Lazio have picked up 7 points in their 4 games, and that's what I was looking for Celtic to try and do in this group. Victory is crucial to both sides. Lazio chase a knockout spot, and if they beat Celtic, that'll take them up to ahead of 10 points, and you think that that's them done and dusted, they'll get through. Celtic need to try and get Europa League football. That is the dream. That is the dream. Without, I mean, they have Lazio have been without players over different injuries the last couple of weeks. They do have players out injured also. They've got a lot of players out. Another name that's been added to the training. He's been struck by a flu bug. Let's just hope it's COVID and it floors him for a week. Kevin, before anybody says anything, as the jury is now out whether the goalkeeper will be able to play against Celtic in the Champions League tomorrow evening. He's conceded 5 goals and kept 1 clean sheet so far. Remains to be seen whether Brendan Rodgers' side are able to manage points against a depleted Lazio, and that's from Inside Football. So they do have their own troubles. As I said, when when I named this video, they do have a key man missing, and can Celtic win? Can this be the day? Can Brendan Rodgers motivate this team enough to get that win in the Champions League? Tell me what you think. The Hat and Scarf Brigade. One Newcastle fan wandered down the street and attacked, ended up missing his team game. Newcastle for fans. Madrid packed lunch boxes. Yeah, that was one of the weirdest. There's the one. What was that one? Just reading some of these comments here. Celtic don't say right. There's one. Jeff Ray says it. Celtic don't play the same game without the Green Brigade. Now this is going to cause all sorts of people going, look, keep them out. We don't want them. And well, make some noise. That's all we're saying. Is the people that are in the ground. If you don't want the Green Brigade in, show that they're not missed. That's all that we're asking. Show the fans that are watching all around the world that the Green Brigade are not missed. We're not saying bring them back in and be done with it. We're saying show us. Let us hear it. And as it stands just now, the Green Brigade have been out for about a month. And there's been 2 games that they've been out, but the atmosphere has been absolutely dire. And anyone that says anything else is absolutely kidding themselves on. Cameron Carter Vickers for captain. That's an interesting one. Does Cameron Carter Vickers do enough talking on the pitch in the first instance to motivate players to go forward? Does he read the game enough? And I'm only putting this out there, James. Does he read the game enough the way that Callum McGregor kind of got taught for Scott Brown? I mean, Callum McGregor can still read the game and he tells people, you see it when he's on the pitch. Does Cameron Carter-Vickers do that? Can he do that enough? That's my question to you. So come back to me, James. Do you think that he can do that? Start Bernabei tomorrow. We need goals. Bernabei, my goodness. We need a win for a bit of self-respect and to stop. Um, yes, we need to stop being the dead rubber. We do need to stop being the dead rubber when it comes to European football. To be fair, we probably don't need to play with a keeper. Yeah. Tom has come in and said we need the Green Brigade. I think there'll be a lot of trouble in Rome tomorrow. Do you think so? Um, I'm not too sure. But you never know. I understand that they were selling their tickets cheap just to try and get the stadium full, because they hadn't been selling tickets too well. Because let's face it, they are 11th in the league and they're not doing so well. The Italian media are out for blood when it comes to the manager, Sarri, and it's interesting reading. It is interesting reading when it comes to what will happen tomorrow night. Vickers, no, not at all. Not at all. Um, Here's an interesting one. What was like to get well done, was kind of not that one. It's that one. If the Green Brigade had the team at heart, they would have demand a meeting with the club and apologise for their hooligan behaviour. Simple. I think both need to look. I can remember years ago when I was a bit more involved with people that were running the group at the time, and I knew them. And this kind of thing has happened before. Celtic have an agenda to keep the Green Brigade out for a certain number of games so that they're not seen to cause any problem. Now, it's interesting. It's interesting that you're starting to see more people back in the Green Brigade section. So there's now a split. I'm going to say it. There is now a split between people that are in the Green Brigade and the boys, and people that are in the lower tier of the standing section at Celtic Park. Now, there's obviously people in the lower tier of the standing section that are saying that have been classed as Green Brigades over the years, but they've now come out and said, "Look, we are not." In the Green Brigade, we're not in the Green Brigade, so we want to get our seats back. And so there is obviously it's a troubling time, if you ask me, but it's going to be it's one that needs sorted out either way. It's one that needs either sorted out. We do need some kind of singing section back in that corner of Celtic Park to create some atmosphere. It is as simple as that. Look into the game tomorrow. Will there be anything going on in Rome? There's always fans issues in Lazio, San Francisco Celtic. You got it there. It's just the Italians. They're just absolutely nuts, and especially Lazio, especially Lazio. The Celtic board says Paul want rid of the Green Brigades, support the Green Brigades. Says Paul, divide and conquer the good old Tory board. Right, that is that. And let me see. I think everybody who's given. See if there's any more Celtic news kicking about because that's been on for 45 minutes this evening. Leicester must capitalise on Celtic contract uncertainty. What is this? This is a story that's just came out. And there's an interesting one. It looks like Leicester um, can relax during the transfer window due to their healthy advantage over other teams. Looks like Leicester might be coming in for a Celtic player. Might be coming in for a Celtic player. David Turnbull. David Turnbull has just been linked with Leicester. That is interesting. Will Celtic sell David Turnbull to Leicester in the next window? He's up for contract. Well, it all depends whether he wants to go now. He could sit on his bum. He's not signed a 2-year. I never thought I'd be doing this story tonight. The 24-year-old is obviously out of contract in the summer and is set to sign a new deal. There's major doubts over his long-term future at the club. It's strange for David Turnbull. He's actually Celtic's top goal scorer in the league. Yet he's not guaranteed a place in the starting 11. With Matt O'Reilly, Rio Tati sort of stands out in midfield for Brendan Rodgers. Serious injury to Tati. Things haven't changed for Turnbull. Whether it's due to the contract situation, who knows? But he was used as a sub on Saturday, and Leicester, it has been said, could come in for Turnbull in the next transfer window. That is an interesting one. Will Celtic sell David Turnbull the next transfer window just to recoup some of that money? Just to recoup some of that money. Well, that's a cracking one to end the video on. David Turnbull uh, could be on his way out of Celtic and heading off down to Leicester. Wow. Turnbull will be sold in the transfer window. I think he will so as well. Leicester's in for Greg Taylor. Well, let's hope. Let's give him Greg Taylor and tell him it's Turnbull. Baz behind talk about closed door Brigade. It's called for control. We've seen 4. Yep. Right. I'm going to finish it on that. I think Rogers wants. Hope I read a comment actually. I'm going to comment about this because being of a certain age, I can remember Celtic in the 1990s, and I remember all the trouble and strife that we went through in the 1990s when it came to the club. Where was Rod Stewart then? Where was Rod Stewart in 1993 or even 1992 to 1997? Where was Rod Stewart then? That's right. He was kicking about with Rangers players and Rangers top on. Anyway, on that note, David Turnbull looks on his way to his door. The Lazio fans are looking for Rod Stewart. And it's been a fantastic 48 minutes. On that note, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around.